I'm sure you've heard this before. I'm not sure whether I'm more envious or more impressed. But thank you for that. It was fascinating. And it was also, you gave us a lot of insight into the mind and life of a modern programmer. But that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about. Do you consider yourself more of a programmer or more of a consumer product developer or a consumer advocate? How do you kind of think about what you do for a living?
No, I mean, so two things. First off, I'm entirely self-taught. And so I see myself every day, as I was mentioning this notion of autodidacticism or self-learning, I see myself every day trying to just become more informative or teach myself across a plethora of subjects or industries. And so as a product manager, I see my role as really the intersection of the sciences, of the programming, of the design, the marketing, of the PR, and being able to understand a lot about those things. And secondly, I would say more broadly, the kind of idols I have in industry and more broadly are people who are polymaths. If you look in the Renaissance era, people like Leonardo da Vinci, who weren't just great engineers, and they weren't just great artists, but they were painters, thinkers, writers, sculptors. They had a whole array of subjects that they considered themselves experts in. And a lot of that came down to the education system in the sense that although it was only available potentially to kind of wealthy people, when you were being taught, it was primarily self-taught. And you might have a tutor or two who give you the direction, but you never really stopped learning. It wasn't like you went to school, you went to college, and that's it. And I think that's a really healthy kind of frame of mind to have. And so although I'm kind of considering going to higher education and university, I think in this industry more than ever, because of its impermanence and because of the quick iterations, it is so important to learn.
Well, so, okay, it raises an interesting point. As you've gotten involved with, basically emerged from your room into the wider world, you're at, Yahoo now, doing things with them. What's your observation of the other people working in developing products? Do you find them more narrowly focused? Do you find polymaths? What do you see out in the world?
I mean, clearly, I think with any product manager or anyone who works with applications, if you think like a histogram, you're going to have certain areas that you're more strong in than others. And so there are some technical product managers, there are some who are kind of on the marketing side, there are some who are very visual and design oriented. And actually, I would say, if you look at kind of in the last 24 months, the applications and services that have become very prominent very quickly, design is very fundamental. And so I think more than ever, it's so important now. And I guess this kind of really emanated from Jobs and what Apple set forth when they created the iPhone development ecosystem. They reward design and they reward user experience such that it's not in the way. You don't even notice it's well designed. You want the content to come forth, but it's so important to get the interactions and the gestures and the aesthetic correct so that as a user, you're not obstructed by like, what's that button do? Or I don't know how to use this.
But actually, there's something beyond that, though, too. You're right, but there was also in Apple products historically an enormous amount of beauty, or if not beauty, elegance. So it didn't get in the way, and that could happen. But there is this calming effect of the aesthetic beauty and the elegance, in addition to the usability. Is that, because I was looking at the design of the latest one, and there is that kind of, aesthetic elegance to it that was quite pronounced.
Absolutely. I want people wanting to lick the screen. I think that's my goal when it comes to this style of design. And so I take it very seriously. And as you can see with the Yahoo News Digest aesthetic, and if you'd seen the summary aesthetic before, I really enjoy kind of modernist design and the typography. And I'm inspired by a lot of Swiss design from the 1960s and 70s because the focus on typography.
Yeah, that was pure Swiss modern.
Exactly.
And there's actually some Massimo Vignelli in there as well.
Absolutely, with the subway. So that's impressive that you recognize that the little icons from the Atom taxonomy. That was very inspired by the subway system and the lines. And I'm a massive fan of that era of design, and I think it works really well on a digital screen, and especially on a small screen, because having a grid and rigidity and actually giving form to the screen is so important. Because as a user, you can get lost in the UI. And so although, as you said, it's important to kind of have little elements that are very visually kind of nice and appealing, and the user will agree.
So is that, do you think that, because one of the questions I wanted to ask is, what do you think are the essentials of products for mobile phones? So it seems that one of the first essentials then is almost a design formalism.
Yes. I think design formalism, but I would abstract that a layer further and go, there's no point designing a mobile experience if you haven't got in mind a daily habit. If your product isn't the kind of product that you could see users realistically coming to on a daily basis, then over time you're going to see this kind of retention decay, where people might download the app once, go, oh, this is cool, check it the following day, then check it the following 2 days. And you can see there's going to be this kind of trend line forming where eventually after 3 months they'll stop using it.